Understand? Now, if your expectations are low, you would think, okay, since my expectations are low, anything can exceed my expectations. That's where you're wrong. You're right in that regard. It logically makes sense that if your expectations are down here, that anything that happens will exceed your expectations. Is that true? Yes. What you're forgetting is how the mind works in unison with the body, right? With the information that you provided. If your expectations are down here, your mind will never allow you to align to even get to the point where you can get to these expectations. Why? Chasing the cheetah. If you believe that this is what you can expect, what about down here seems like something worth chasing? Nothing. If it doesn't even seem worth trying from the beginning, why would your mind ever align with you and align your actions to pursue it? Make that make sense. It doesn't make sense. If you are expecting bad, your mind says, oh, all right, well, let's just ignore that. I want good. I don't want bad. Why would I? I'm not even going to pay this any mind. I'm not going to pay this any mind. So, yes, logically, you would think, okay, well, if I expect up here and I get down here, it's going to bring me down. But if I expect down here and I get up here, it'll bring me up. But what you're missing is that if you expect down here, you will never be able to align your mind and actions to even get to the point where you can experience up here. Understand? Because it's chasing the cheetah is not worth pursuing in your mind. I hope that makes a lot of sense. I literally had no intention of yapping for 30 minutes. I have nothing written down. I have nothing written down. I just wanted to spark this up and just chat with y'all like regular homies, but I guess I feel like I get too passionate about situations, or when I learn something in life, I take it very seriously. I take everything that God shows me very seriously. I never want to come off as I'm taking it as a joke. I take everything God shows me very seriously, all jokes aside. And I feel as if, personally, I feel that if I learn a lesson, I need to capitalize on it like this. I heard a quote that changed my mind forever. Oh my gosh, I wanted to cry when I heard this quote. And the quote said, it wasn't really a quote, it was a man, he was just saying it. He said that, he said, don't make life have to teach you the same lesson twice. Or don't make life have to teach you the same lesson over and over, because if you do, like every time you gotta learn that lesson, you're gonna hit a deeper and darker rock bottom every time. Because if a flick to the forehead wasn't enough to teach you, next comes a slap to the face, then you get a punch to the jaw. Next thing you know, you're getting body slammed. You see what I'm saying? Like, God will never give up on teaching you. God wants us all to grow. But if it's just not getting through to you, in his efforts to make that happen, he has to do what he has to do. And if you're not understanding, in order to make you understand, it has to be written very clear. And that looks different for everybody. And unfortunately, some people never have the awareness to realize that they're getting taught a lesson, because they're so deep in blaming everything else in the world for their problems. The moment that you can start blaming yourself for everything that happens, the moment you can see that God is trying to teach you lessons through certain things. Everything up to this point in your life that has not went your way, a lot of it likely has to do with the decisions that you made. The decision that you made, not anybody else made for you. Some things were probably out of your control, but a lot of the reason you feel the way you feel, you are the way you are, and you're at where you're at, is because of the decisions you made in the past. So if you don't like the outcome of the man you become, If you don't like the outcome of where you're at, if you don't like the outcome of how you're feeling, then you got to change the roots. You have to go back. You cannot go back in time, but you got to make an an effort. You have to be intentional with trying to change these parts of you. Nothing happens not casually. I took that out of my vocabulary. I don't let me being a nonchalant person or me being calm, chill, whatever you want to call it. I always say things like, yeah, I'm just chilling. I'll go with the flow. Let things happen naturally. No. You get to a point in your life where you understand that when you try to let things happen naturally, it's not working out for you. It's not going your way. Why? If things are happening naturally, that means it's out of your control. Nothing was ever intended to be out of your control. In your life, you're supposed to have as much control as you possibly can. Some things you won't be able to control, but don't limit the control you have on things by just your own efforts. Maximize the control you have over your life. Control everything that you possibly can in your life. And when you're going with the flow, letting things happen naturally, how could you possibly get a grip on life? How could you possibly have control over what's going on? You have to be intentional. Nothing happens on accident. Could you imagine if God was in control of my life and he said, I'm going to let things happen naturally. I'm going to just go with the flow. You think I would be doing good in life right now? Probably not. If I'm just letting life take course on me, just letting things just hit me left and right and just feeling like I have no control over what's going on. If I'm feeling a certain way about an area I lack in my character, you think I'm gonna say I'm gonna just wait for the day that my character builds itself? No, you gotta go out there and you gotta build that grit. You have to build that grit. Nothing is gonna come to you naturally. I'm telling you. You have to look at, you don't have to listen to me. Please look at situations in your own life. Don't dwell on the past, but you can use your past to change now. Look at situations in your past that didn't go the way you wanted to and ask yourself, if I had full control, how could I have changed this situation? And make sure that you never have to go through that again. And I could give you guys example after example, but I really want you to look in your own life because that's where you're gonna see when things hit you. You're not gonna feel the need to change if you're watching me get punched. You're not gonna feel the need. You're not gonna feel that pain. The moment you can connect what I'm saying to a pain in your life is the moment that you have what it takes to change, because you see it for yourself. I can sit here and I could talk all day and it might not mean anything to you. It might mean absolutely nothing. The moment you can connect the dots to your own history, that's when you feel it. That's when it hits deeper. You get me? It hits a lot deeper. You got to connect it to your own past. Look at your own past. Instead of whining about things you wish would have went differently, ask yourself, if I were put in this situation again, what would I do? How would I handle it differently? Not based off the man you are, but based off the man you want to be. How would you handle this situation? And start moving based on that. If there's a certain way that you want to be, if there's a certain character you want to have to yourself, a certain grit, a certain strength, a certain courage, you have to move like that man. Picture yourself as the ideal form of yourself, and you have to start living your life just like that. There's no other way. Don't think that it's just gonna come to you. It's not. Nothing comes to you naturally. It doesn't. You gotta be intentional. Sure, things happen that like things happen, of course. I'm sure there are things that are happen that do happen naturally. But more times than not, if you want the results that you want, if you want control over the results that you get, as much control over the results you get as you possibly can, be intentional. Stop thinking that things happen by themselves. Stop thinking that things happen naturally and start being intentional. I'm telling you. Now, honestly, I've been yapping like I had all these topics right here to talk about, but it's like, do I even have to get into any of these? I think I'll end this episode right, and I'll do a separate episode. How about that? So I hope you guys enjoyed. Check this out. I want y'all guys to follow us on social media. Follow me at Zay After Dark on Instagram, Zay After Dark on TikTok, and support my business at ZG Design Studio LLC on Instagram. Graphic design business. I got a lot of big plans for y'all, but right now I'm not slowing up. But there's some personal work I'm trying to do. This journey never ends. There's a certain man I'm trying to be, and I gotta fight with my current self every single day to reach that version of myself. And it's hard to do that when trying to balance 15 different things at once. So when I feel comfortable in the man that I am, right? Not saying I'm not comfortable in my own skin, but when I feel like I've achieved that character that I'm looking to get, that grit that I'm looking to have, that man I'm trying to be, um, I think it'll be a lot easier to manage everything else. Understand? When you're happy within yourself, it's a lot easier to tackle on new projects. But I was gonna pull up these topics. I was even gonna play a little guitar for y'all. Probably ain't gonna get to all that tonight, but tomorrow's a new day. I gotta be to work at 4 in the morning. But the grind don't stop. The grind do not stop.